Three Florida moms are suing the state of Florida for implementing Governor Ron DeSantis' book ban. The trio launched legal action against the Florida Board of Education after they unsuccessfully lobbied to defend a book that had been banned and pulled from the shelves in their school district. Nancy Trey, Ann Watts Tressler, and Stephania Farrell say the ban violates their First Amendment rights, claiming the 2023 education law discriminates against parents who oppose book bans and censorship.
Farrell tried to make a case before the state to keep a book called Shut Up by Marilyn Reynolds, a book that contains themes of sexual abuse, from being pulled, but was met with a letter indicating her case couldn't be heard because, quote, a special magistrate is not available to contest a district's decision to remove material or for the purpose of providing clarification on the law. As such, your request has been dismissed. A spokesperson for the Florida Board of Education responded via email to Rising's request for comment and wrote, quote, there are no books banned in Florida. However, sexually explicit material and instruction are not suitable for classrooms. So, Jessica, what do you think about this lawsuit? I guess their complaint is that the law basically requires every school district to provide a process with which parents can object to books, but they claim that there's not an additional process that allows them to object to the objection, essentially.
Right. So in this particular case, it sounds like these moms were very upset that a book was banned from the schools. This book, Shut Up. But there are, 2,700 cases of books being banned, and they were targeted for removal in the state of Florida under this law. That in this case, in this school district, it was just one mom that had a complaint about the book that resulted in it being pulled from the shelves. So their complaint was, if 99% of parents want the book on the shelves, but 1% don't, why is the book taken off the shelves? Why is one parent's decision for their child imposed on all of the other parents? It's a restriction on parents' rights and this kind of freedom for kids, to explore ideas if the parents deem it appropriate. And so as someone who grew up where our elementary school, different sections based on age, there wasn't a lot of free time in the library where we could wander to the older sections. But I do understand parents wanting, the books for older kids being in that section and the books for younger kids being in this section, and they want to have some say over what their kids can read. I think there are ways to implement that without banning the book for everyone else. In many societies where we've seen the restriction of free thought and ideas in terms of book banning, it's always been in a descent into fascism. I think people are very scared about, the government having control about what ideas can be consumed and what ideas cannot.
Yeah, I do agree that there should be a different standard for elementary versus middle versus high school kids. And if there was a way to have a separate section for the high school kids that the elementary school kids were not able to access, then that might be a fair compromise. I do think that a lot of the hand-wringing about the book bans in Florida, as they're called, is a little bit missing the point, which is that the vast majority of the books that have been removed from libraries really shouldn't be suitable for a minor at any age. A couple of examples of the most commonly banned books, as they say, are books called Lawn Boy, which features an adult male reminiscing fondly on oral sex he gave to another boy when he was 10 years old. There's Gender Queer, which was listed as 18+ on Amazon at the same time that it was found in school libraries because it contains cartoons with pretty graphic depictions of sex. There's a book called Let's Talk About It that features naked drawings of women with penises and men with vaginas, shows kids how to use butt plugs and do anal douching, downplays STDs, and says children should research fantasies and kinks by watching pornography. This book is gay, explains how to find sexual partners online, features graphic descriptions of various types of sex, and has a glossary of terms that includes information about poop-eating fetishes and sex toys. This particular book that we're talking about, Shut Up, is not quite as graphic as those examples, which are the most commonly removed books. But it does talk about sexual abuse in pretty graphic detail. I can understand why a parent might object to their child being able to access that without it being a formal part of the curriculum where they can, opt out of whatever lesson plan that is. If something's in the library, at least how I've seen libraries set up, even if there are separate sections, children still have access to all different parts of the library. It's not like books that are meant for older kids are kept under lock and key. And I think parents are right to have concerns about what material their children might have access to.
I'm concerned that under this legislation, there are people who have no kids in the public schools in Florida that can object to a great number of books and have them banned as a result of this law. And there's no recourse for parents who have children in the schools. It really feels like a big loss for parents' rights in the state of Florida, especially because, we don't see a lot of circumstances where the same library is being used for high school students and kindergarten students, or even middle school students and elementary school students. We typically have different schools entirely in the United States of America. So to see, an elementary school kid reading a book about puberty is just so highly unlikely that to have the book banned across all ages is just an infringement upon freedoms and a scary restriction of the government on the freedom of thought. When I think about books like Shut Up or The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, books with mature themes. Shut Up is about a child experiencing a sibling going through abuse and grooming. And it does have mature themes, as does The Fault in Our Stars, talking about cancer and navigating relationships. But there are so many young adults that these things are a part of the world we live in, but are very new. And the books help them understand and get through these very tough things. And so to ban them simply because they're mature themes is to handicap our kids and not allow them to prepare to be a full adult in the world we live in. And these young adult novels, if you're a parent and you don't want them to be exposed to those ideas, that's your choice. But to impose it upon everyone's kids is just not the kind of free society I think people imagine when they imagine raising kids in the United States of America.
Yeah, I was just looking at the law in Florida, and apparently what it says is that books have to go through a review process now with a district official who to make sure that the books don't have explicitly pornography in them. At least that's what's written in this article from Education Week. So any books that get caught in the crosshairs that are banned due to ideology or anything like that, that's apparently not covered by the law. So that would have been done in error by particular school districts. And my understanding as well is that there are differences in books that are put in elementary school libraries versus high school libraries. It's not a one-size-fits-all policy across the school district. I would believe that there would be a difference between those two. But I know that we're running short on time here, so we're going to have to leave it there, and we'll be back with more Rising after this.